Welcome, wanderers, to Widow Walsh's workshop. We're here on Widow Walsh's workshop. We'll whittle you what you want. Well, wanderers, we're wiring up the puck lights in the bus. These are the last two, so I thought I'd give you a quick rundown of what we do on this operation here. So I've got the my leads coming out, right? So these are why I'm wiring these things in parallel, which means I have one power that runs through all these lights. If you do them in series, you would go positive to negative to positive to negative, but this is all one thing. So I've run all these things in parallel. So what I do is I cut my wires free, and then I strip those out, and I have these connectors over here, lever nuts. I got a whole container full of them. I got these are 3 conductors. So basically you just flip those up, then you slide your wire in there, and I'll do both of my positives, and then I'll do the light on one, and then I go and do it to the next one, and so on and so forth, and you'll see here. I'll show you when they're all done. All right, wanderers, so I have this thing all hooked up, okay? As you can see, I have 2 positives, and this one goes to the positive. I have a negative to the negative. If I had more than 2 lights in this string, I would have had another positive on here, and it would have just continued on. So I get these set up, okay, and they go down to this switch right here. Okay, so I've just temped the switch in with a couple more of these wire nuts. All right, so then I have to go back to my big old pile of wires that's gonna come down to my fuse box, right? So I find the one that's for the top bunk bed in the back, which I've already done, and here it is. It says, Renee's or Mama's bunk. So it comes down here, and I've got it hooked up to this right here, which is a DC power supply, which converts AC to DC, and you can use these to test DC circuits and anything that's like a DC piece of electronics to make sure that it operates. So I'm going to unplug my light here and plug this in, and we'll see if it works. I've been about 50-50 on these. I've had to troubleshoot a lot of these and trace them back to find out where the connection was bad. So bear with me here. Let me just see what I can do. I'm gonna just put this up. I'm gonna drop that on the ground, I guess. And then, okay, there we go. All right, let me turn this on. All right, so I'm getting 12 volts where it says right here, okay? And it tells me how many amps these things are running. So let's go up there and see if it works. Those lights work. So let's go over to the switch, and we'll just see if the switch works. Turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. That circuit works. So there. So we've got another light set up. So now what happens is these little things right here, they're little flanges that fin up. I just kind of dig out a little of the insulation with a screwdriver, and then I flatten those things in. They clip right in there, and they come in and out pretty easily. So as you can see, I've got all these other ones are connected now, and they actually work. Those are all working. Those 2 are working. Here's a couple switches right here for the bathroom lights. These are working. These are working. and the ones in the main cabin are working. And the cool thing about the main cabin is I have it on a two-way switch. So when we come in here, I can click it on. And then when I leave the bus, the other switch is right here, and I can click it off. So I don't have to walk through the dark bus. So there, that's my wiring. Hey wanderers, that right there is Gibson. Anyway, this portion of the video is me troubleshooting some of those problems I was talking about. So stay tuned. Welcome wanderers. Widow Walsh's wiring. So what we're doing now with these puck lights, these are the older ones. The newer ones have like a little cam that clicks up in there a lot easier. These right here have screws, but I'm trying to reuse a bunch of these. I got about 9 of them right here, and I'm gonna put them in this little hallway in between the bunk beds. And I think there'll be like a closet over here. So I bought a bunch of these, whatever they are, Wagos or whatever. They're clip. You just cam that up and click those wires in there. It's pretty easy. So I'm going to hook all these up, and since these have screws in them, and I'm gonna mount them for permanent, I want to test everything. So what I'll do is I'll put the switch on, which is over here, and then I will hook up. I'll find out where it runs in here, and I'll hook up the DC power supply, which is basically a simulation of a battery. And so I'll hook that up and see if these things work before I screw them up into the ceiling. So I have this DC power supply hooked up. Okay, it's going over to this switch here, which works. Goes to this switch to light these puck lights. Okay, it works, but I don't have a whole lot of power to these lights. I'm a little nervous about this. If I come back over to the power box, and I've got it at 12 volts right here, and if I turn it up to like 30 volts, it gets brighter, but it doesn't get super bright either. I mean, that's still not that bright. So, not really sure if this is gonna be a big problem or not. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody smarter than me, which is pretty much everybody. Okay, wanderers, we're back. I talked to somebody smarter than me, which is, like I said before, pretty much everyone. An electrician at work, so I have everything all hooked up exactly the same as I did before. And he told, except I switched those old lights that I was gonna try to repurpose from the previous owner to these new lights that are like the ones I'm using up there. And he told me it's probably just your lights. And guess what? I hit the button and it works, and it's bright, and it's awesome. Lights off, lights on. Lights off, lights on. Lights off, on. Yeah, victories. Love them.